Yeah, they're one of the few individuals we have seen be successful pivoting between liquidation and snipe shot. The first time we had them on, I think, or the first time we cast them, I don't know if it was on Underdunk or if it was on week one of Mayhem, but those snipe shots were looking a little rough. However, the next time we cast them, I don't think Muck could miss. Like, it
Yeah.
became a problem. So that's something that I'm looking out for. And the ability for them to pivot to liquidation, which is what a lot of people, including myself, consider like the easier moveset to use, right? Because it's like, it's locked in, it just kind of unleashes, it's there, tons of damage. But be able to fill two separate roles on a team with the same character and kind of go with the flow on wherever your draft ended up is a great boon, because a lot of teams, if they're choosing Inteleon, they're mentally locked into liquidation, and that's just what it is.
Yeah, that is true. You gotta be flexible. You have to even believe the idea of flexibility can exist. I'll say that as well. Ooh, and Kira on this roster as well. I always forget that they are playing with Curse right now. Kira, a player who's had some pretty amazing success as of recent in a lot of tournaments.
Yeah, just won Battle Hub last night with their team.
Yeah.
Liztopia, I believe, is what the team name was there. And Inteleon and Lapras being banned out, so Curse Squad going to have a real opportunity, probably locking down a Zacian, if I'm just seeing this right. I don't think you prioritize Umbreon over Zacian right now, unless you can get them both back-to-back. That's kind of my feeling. Zoinks, where's your head at?
Oh, I really like Umbreon. I really do. But maybe I think you're onto something, Deucenex. This Zacian seems to be the play of the recent metagame right now. I mean, it's so absurdly powerful. It's good it's good early game. It has an amazing Unite late game. It's pretty easy to support with your roster. Like, it only needs a little bit of healing, and otherwise it can kind of take care of itself. It's a very good all-rounder selection.
I agree. Now up on the block here, Umbreon actually could be selected. You could get like Umbreon Slowbro or something goofy like that, right? And let your support pick kind of fall a little bit lower. They're deciding to just lock in the Umbreon now and pick up the Blissey. So what you get out of Umbreon Zacian specifically is the mean look into the Sacred Sword combination, which is a death knell for any Pokemon caught in that, except for maybe the Slowbro, if that's where Spinal decides to go with their defender pick.
Yeah, they just get to press Amnesia. It's a pretty powerful button. They can ignore a whole lot of damage. I like Spinal's draft so far, and honestly, I think it's a bit of a Homer's analyst, though, here, Deucenex, because I get to see VinDiesel and Urshifu, and they are easily one of my favorite players to be playing this Pokemon. Their Dodrio, their Zacian, even their Zoroark. I think all three of them look so good in Vin's hands. Really, like, high-octane player. They make so many big flanks. They make constant invades, their clears are quick. Like, I don't know, you can never take a breath when you're playing against VinDiesel.
That's a great point, and they're hyper aggressive, which you love to see as well. Looks like we've got a little bit of a North Pole tandem here. Two ice types loading in for Curse Squad. The Glaceon and the A9 getting selected, so that's going to be able to get some good spacing on VinDiesel. The Avalanche Blizzard combo, as well as maybe some sure hit action out of the Glaceon as well. But last in that gutter pick is that Blastoise, which is another phenomenal aggressive defender type.
Yeah, Relent gonna be playing that Pokemon in the top path, most likely. It's gonna be really strong. They're gonna be putting the Venusaur bottom path. Symp, though, a very amazing attacker player. We actually just saw Stockings in the game number 1 of their match previously playing that Venusaur in the bottom path pretty much the entire game, and they weren't too worse for wear. However, it is gonna be like Umbreon Ninetales bot path probably, which is extremely strong. So that'll be an interesting matchup to watch play out. Now, Deucenex, there is one thing that these teams could cook on. Do we ever see Helping Hand Blissey, Aurora Veil, Ninetales? Do we see just the auto attack machine gun out of the A9?
Like, is that something they could do? Yes, Zoinks.
Okay, great, good.
Is that something they will do? No, it is not.
Okay, well, I hoped, and I'm sure chat was hoping as well, but unfortunately not the case. One thing that I can look forward to, though, is going to be Buzl's kind of return to the Glaceon. Uzi's been a really solid central player. In this Mayhem series, actually, their tournament that they won on that night, they played a large amount of Pokemon in Central, so I was pretty surprised by that. And this Glaceon is another new look for tonight's tournament, but certainly not a new look for this player. I think in UCS, when Glaceon was popular, that's where Uzi had their most success, and they definitely looked the best on. So a very strong comfort pick on this specific evolution.
Yeah, that's a great call. And they're going to need to get these EVs online very quickly if they're going to be able to leverage a quick impact, because they do scale a little bit faster than what Spinal is doing. So you have to take care of that and get that done for your team immediately. Joey with a nice little Astonish them. I think they secured that wild Pokemon as well, allowing the opportunity for Relent to go and get a stack in with another phenomenal Astonish there. I love Hoopa so much.
It's a great Pokemon. It really is. And Joey playing it really well so far. I mean, I will say, a name I'm not too familiar with, but if they're coming out of a team like Spinal, I have to imagine they've had a whole lot of RedLuv success as of recent if they're going to be gaining respect to be on a roster for a tournament the caliber of Unite Mike's Mayhem Finals.
I can't disagree. Quickly, we have an A9, and it looks like we're going to have an Umbreon take over. I thought that wild Pokemon in the back left was going to be able to get them over the line there quite late on that, of course. But look at this pressure being put on. Nice little VinDiesel engage that's able to get a bunch of those, and they're following up for a KO. The KO opener going to Spinal, but they want some more. Sacred Sword is unleashed, and VinDiesel is low on HP. Are they going to try and chase it down? No, they're blinked through, and the full HP Hoopa and Squirtle are going to be able to hold it down, and a quick point in means we have a War Turtle on our hands.
Kyriaos and Kira playing really safe in that scenario. They do not want to engage. They do not want to engage Vin off of pad. Like, they do not want to lose that source of healing when going up against a Pokemon like Urshifu. And I suppose they're not KO'd for it, but it certainly could have been a trade if they decided to pull that aggressive trigger. But of course, the downsides are also going to be there.
I mean, just look at the volume of damage this Wartortle and Hoopa are doing to Cursed, right? Like, I mean, they've been all over Kyriaos and really making them stay to their side of the map. And VinDiesel isn't even here, but VinDiesel is in the middle, taking all of those birds for themselves as they're able to peel back. Level 7 feeling pretty large right now. Buzl, on the other hand, the other level 7 on the map, and they're going to look to make an impact in the bottom path.
Yeah, they're going to have to play so far from range, though, and really the only Pokemon they can hide behind is going to be the Umbreon or Blissey, who are so far in this game not being too impactful quite yet. Kyriaos, a lone defender of this goal zone, having to go 1v3 and so much damage at a Vin is a real big threat. They are going to score 30 in that goal zone, though, bringing it down quite low, but a nice counter push coming out of Cursed.
Yeah, that was really where the prize was, right? They're willing to give up Kyriaos in the top path to make that push happen, and at least they get it done. 10 seconds until the basement Reggie, but the action seems to be peeling back for Spinal. They closed out that goal zone early, which means the Hoopa rotations are going to be a little bit slower using the Hyperspace Highway, which is a good start for them, right? That's one of the few scenarios where you do want to break those tier 1 pads early and kind of give them that extra experience, because the mobility you're taking away from them is far more important.
Absolutely. Vin has Unite, but it doesn't matter because so did Uzi. Drops it and immediately shreds through that Reggie and goes for the Icy Wind KO. Ivysaur is going to be knocked out. Nudo trying to escape, not going to happen, but the level 7 defender getting knocked out, not too big of a deal. That being said, Uzi now in danger from Vin and the company.
Yeah, I mean, the absolute movement that Blue Shifu has is nothing to scoff at. I mean, it was able to collapse on top of a Pokemon that had, you know, a 10th of a map lead on it and get the KO, right? And I mean, Buzl was almost at full HP as well, so you can't understate VinDiesel on this Pokemon and that Pokemon's ability to close the gap on you.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Sometimes you just have to decide, all right, I'm just going to do some damage because I am getting knocked out. You're using any of your cooldowns like eject button, even full heal. That could be a big risk because oftentimes it's not even worth it. You're just going to get KO'd, especially when it's Vin who's got you in their sights.
And now we've got a good sense of secure here. Symp has kind of been in the back line, not even really making their presence felt, but we've got a Verdnanger coming out with the Solar Beam, but it's the Blissey that seals it up for Cursed. So good look by them as they're moving through. They're looking for an opportunity to see if they can push this thing. Regieleki's getting close. Here comes the mean look. Pushing forward is Nudo. Putting him in a blender is Kyriaos. That's a quick KO. Buzl getting credit for that KO on Symp. And now, getting on the goal zone, they certainly have. They're going to be able to do some damage here if they can get more points into that thing, and bang. 205 to 74.
Solid overdunk for the side of Curse Team. Spinal playing a little bit from behind, especially now that both of these goal zones are broken. Joey's impact just so much weaker when they can't be portaling back and forth between these top and bottom paths. Good news for Spinal, they have a Pokemon like Urshifu who can rotate rather quickly and can clear those central area buffs fast while trying to rotate to either side. So they're not going to be too worried about the lack of mobility, but it's going to make these objectives so much harder. In fact, Joey, the only one rotating down towards bot path, trying to gain some vision and unite while the other team members score.
Yeah, well, getting the KO on the Blissey's to where it starts here, and they're putting tons of pressure on the Umbreon as well. Nudo trying to hold it down, but isn't very successful. Kyriaos comes in for the support, grabbing all the shields. His slow beam out. No, it doesn't matter. That's a good little exchange. The VinDiesel stands, but they can't rotate now as they're getting collapsed on. The Unite move is out, but VinDiesel's not willing to take it. Nice KO by Buzl there. They're trying to keep this goal zone up as long as possible, but the points keep going in. It's left at 3, which means it has an opportunity for a big overdunk. Tune in later on. So Spinal getting what they could out of that and shrunk that lead in a big way.
Yeah, that was a tough position to be in for them, right? Like, they have a big top path push. However, the Reggie fight at the bottom is clearly what the Hoopa was intending to do, get in position with their Unite move. But I think Spinal made the right call, and unfortunately, it sort of left Hoopa out to dry. But I think it was the right call to sort of leave that objective. Uzi is going to rip that way too quick with the Glaceon, and instead take the objective you can, and that's going to be that top goal zone. So good rotation by Spinal in that scenario.
Without a doubt, that Hydro Typhoon tries to hit Kira, and they're successful, but that's not really the target you want. Rapid Spin Water Spout into the back line. They find themselves in A9. They're moving through, and now Spinal gets on top of this Regieleki. He's able to poach it out. 2 players down for Cursed, and Spinal's looking for an opportunity to push, and I think they've got it. Vin wants to start taking the buffs. They're taking any prize they can here. Solar Beam comes through. Symp gets credit for that. As the Glaceon, as Buzl is left babysitting that Regieleki, Spinal is pivoting to the bottom path because they still have a tier 1 goal zone standing, and they have a real opportunity here. Half HP of Muk is gone after the Solar Beam from Symp. Caught in the mean look as the Hoopa, but they're trying to put a portal down. They're trying to Rapid Spin Water Spout VinDiesel into the back line. They're looking to convert. They get a big time action on the A9. The goal zone is closed, but no KOs are found. Solar Beam comes through. Who's going to catch the reset? It is the Hoopa. It is the Blastoise, and they are not coming back through that thing.
Wow, that was an impressive call from Vin to Unite move into that little engagement. They saw the A9 was getting a bit too close to a few of their teammates and was actually going to be in KO potential with just one combo. So they decided to Unite aggressively into the face, play sort of a pseudo tank for the roster. Symp doesn't land anybody with the Solar Beam. They maybe could have earned some more KOs with that one, but the reset from Joey is perfectly timed, and the squad comes back safe and sound. And now there's only 5 points separating these two teams as we head towards our final stretch, thanks to an amazing late game surge from Spinal.
Yeah, the important difference maker to me is Cursed is still missing a couple Unite moves. On the side of Spinal, though, Vin doesn't have theirs back either, so they're scrambling to try and make that happen for the team. The positional advantage, though, over to Spinal.
Yeah, they have an early vision, and they're hiding out in that bottom bush around Rayquaza. Nudo trying to play for vision, currently clearing those top bushes. They force OnRelentNem out, who's going to peel back to the rest of their roster, and all of topside has now been gained by Curse Team.
Yeah, really just getting time for these Unite moves to tick on up, and finally Blissey gets there, so Curse can engage whenever they want because the Bliss Assistant's going to be able to follow suit. Moving in a little bit is Curse. They're looking for their opportunity. It looks like everybody's just content on chunking Rayquaza, but dodging each other. We're going for a back cap by Vin. They think they can get him back in time for this team fight. Blastoise is peeling off as well. Has Curse recognized that there's only 3 players here? The rings are unbound, and now there's a big stun with a Vert and Anger right into the middle. The Solar Beam doesn't hit anybody, but they just bought a ton of space. Solar Beam over the wall, gets a bunch. Bliss assists back to the Zacian because they're going for the hunt, but no, they're actually peeling back. Curse gets completely bullied by Spinal out of there. A9 is there, but they get stunned and slow beamed immediately. The reset portal is down. The Solar Beam gets it done. Symp gets the first KO of this exchange. Spinal's looking for more. They're on the chase. They're all over Buzl. They get Buzl. Glaceon down now, and that's 2 high octane players for Cursed that are finding themselves in the Pokemon Center as Spinal is content to reset because they've got the lead.
Yeah, Curse Team was able to dodge getting KO'd in that initial fight, but then they just tried to retreat. Now the refight is upon us. Nudo gets 1 KO. Kyriaos is sitting at level 14, which is obviously an immense threat to the side of Spinal, and they're just going to be trying to farm up as quickly as they possibly can just to get more Aeos energy in pocket. They want more of those boosted auto attacks.
Yeah, they're still holding on to their Unite move, which they need to use to secure this Rayquaza because they need it. There's 25 seconds left, and everything Spinal can do is space out. Nice surf back the other way, and they're on top of Kira. Kira gets KO'd. 2 players down for Curse, and Spinal's looking to pivot here. Rayquaza's in the middle. That Unite move is getting charged up. They're going to unleash it right now, and it's sold up by Symp. The Solar Beam by Symp takes it for Spinal, and it doesn't matter if the Santa's little helpers are on the side of Curse Squad. They couldn't deliver any gifts for the team with that icy lane they put together because it's all about Symp on that Venusaur and that Solar Beam, and they came through at a critical moment. Good on Spinal.
Yeah, Spinal with that clutch factor. I mean, they won those team fight after team fight or skirmish after skirmish, putting Curse in a position where the only viable option was a flip on that Ray. Well, you're flipping in the face of a Venusaur, especially against a player like Symp. You gotta play it safe. Symp taking that objective away just in the nick of time with that Solar Beam. Impressive smite, and Spinal goes on to take that game.
Spinal putting in work. VinDiesel getting the nod here. 230 points, 7 KOs, 2 assists. And we saw every one of those KOs, and all of those seemed to be felt by Cursed because it was stemming off any push they were trying to making, any defense they were trying to put up. Spinal really moving across this map well. I must shout out Joey playing a phenomenal Hoopa for the team. Great portal resets and really managed to make the Pokemon work despite those tier 1 goal zones being gone pretty early.
Yeah, their Unite move placements were really, really solid. A lot of cool resets. Even after they had that big engage in that final fight, you saw that final portal. I think 4 to 5 members of Spinal were taking it back, so everybody can get a breather. Clearly, Joey is slotting in very, very well into the Spinal roster. And, well, I mean, it's not an easy roster to play into, right? There's a lot of personalities. There's a lot of loud communicators on that team. And, well, sometimes that's the recipe for success, though. Forged in the fires, it can be a team like Spinal, and they are looking really good. They currently have the 1-0 advantage in our game.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I haven't heard Joey on the comms, but I wouldn't be surprised if they were very zen, right? Just calling up portal behind, portal up front. I'm going to use Unite, safe Unite, aggro Unite, all just using their words to just deliver the message they need to keep the team standing. Let them have the fluster and the cluster going on as they just casually reset everybody. I think one of the ones that was most impressive to me was the Blastoise and themselves blink in the bottom path after Vin used their Unite move at like the 3-minute mark or whatever to be able to get them out of dodge, because those KOs could have swung easily the momentum into the other way. So that one specifically stands out to me.
Yeah, the good Hoopa play has been amazing so far tonight, and Deuce Likes, I feel like we've been robbed of it in so many of our Mayhem tournaments leading up until our finals night. I mean, no better night to really showcase it than here at our finals event of Season 4. It's been looking fantastic tonight. I mean, we've had JL playing it. We've been having Joey playing it. Who knows who's going to play it in our next match when we get to see Goat versus Gudra Goose as well. So we have a lot more exciting Unite upcoming. And we do have word from the teams. Curse team is going to be electing into second pick draft spot. So far tonight, that has been every team selection. It's literally only happened twice. Actually, no, since the coin flip as well. Every single team has elected to be in second pick. I mean, just a lot of power there. I think the ability to grab Lapras and Inteleon Umbreon, Inteleon X, it really seems to be a very impressive draft position. However, I feel like the majority of the wins have been on the left-hand side of our screen. That's all I'm going to say. I think the majority of the wins have been coming from first pick, but that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, not a lot of Inteleon again is a prized Pokemon to pick, but it's not seeing a lot of wins, and that's kind of where the dichotomy comes through, right? Like, you have to leverage the strength of the Pokemon itself with how the team can build their opposing composition to just combat that. Because on these high-level teams, of course, as we know, you might have the best Pokemon in your hands, but if the other team outdrafts you, then does it really matter? Right. And what we've seen tonight so far is, no, it doesn't.
No, it certainly does not. All right, game number 2 between Spinal and Cursed. Oh, I'm excited for this one, Zoops next. I mean, that one did not go the way I thought it was going to go, and it wasn't even a final stretch pullback, right? I mean, Spinal was down by a whole lot, but all of a sudden that minute 4 mark hit, and they just found another gas tank that they really hit the ground running with.
No, I agree completely. It felt like Spinal was down on the scoreboard, but not really out of the game by any means. And they were really just biding their time for quick rotations, making sure that Vin got online, and then leveraging Vin being one of the strongest characters on the map to make those pushes happen for themselves. So, I mean, again, good on Spinal for understanding their path into the game and delivering on it. And unsurprisingly, Zacian selected first. Because that Pokemon is pretty darn good, my friend.
Yeah, it's absurd. And so many of the meta picks, too. I think it's been playing so solid. I don't think there's a whole lot of counters to it right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can try to burst it down from range, but so many attackers and mages just aren't doing great in the metagame right now, outside of Inteleon. Venusaur, honestly, probably the prize pick out of all those options. So a current hover of that Pokemon makes a whole lot of sense to me from Spinal. Now, the interesting thing is, now we have 2 games in a row in between these 2 rosters where both times left side is banned Inteleon. So Spinal has done it once and Cursed has done it once. Clearly, both of these players respecting the attacker player on the other side, Symp and Kyriaos or even Muk. I mean, both those options you just can't contest with sometimes.
Yeah, when Muk hasn't been able to get Inteleon, they have been deferring to this Venusaur, which plays a similar long-range kind of hyper-secure, big burst damage type of attacker, and they've been able to do it very, very well. So I see them trying to be a secure machine with the Solar Beam in this current setup that we have here. But on the other hand, we got a Delphox in the mix and an Espeon as well. Thoughts?
The only one I can hope is Uzi Greninja. Come on, Uzi. This is double mage. This is the time. If there was ever to be a game where you pick Greninja, this is the one. If you... Mew's a great little pick into that composition. Wow, neat.
Yeah, fun! Yay! So Buzl locking down the Mew there. Not a big deal, as Kyriaos is going to take the bear. Muk, unsurprisingly, on Venusaur. Buzl going to have to stick with that Mew. We would have loved to see the Greninja, but today is not our day. Zoinks. Mm-hmm. Anyways, talk to me about this Delphox and Espeon pick.
Okay, so Delphox on paper, I think, is their answer to Venusaur. That is going to be their best option. Fanciful Fireworks is the original healing stoppage, right? Before all these cool new items could do it, all the trinkets no longer were not available back in my day. And Delphox's Fanciful Fireworks was your only real answer. Into Blissey, into Venusaur, even into Urshifu, who heals off of all their boosted auto attacks. It actually looks really, really good. So you have some really big power spikes whenever your Night move shows up. Beforehand, though, I could actually see this being a really good Mystical Fire game. You add some Shmovement. There's not a lot of Pokemon that can escape your damage. I mean, Venusaur, Slowbro, Blissey, they're just taking it. Like, they don't have a lot of options to dodge, right? So you just constantly land those hits. You constantly find those cooldowns. Honestly, this could have been a Flamethrower Chandelure, but that is neither here nor there. I could have also had Greninja. Anybody else in chat want to know what else I could have had in this match? I'm just curious.
Well, we all know what you did get, and that's anything else on the roster that isn't on your screen right now. The thing that you mentioned, you know, those hits are going to land, but even on premier targets, I mean, if RedLuv is on point with these mean looks, I mean, that is quality targets across the way before they get into the engagement zone that you can pin down and really leverage, like you said, the Delphox Mystical Fire, for example.
Yeah. What, if anything, if I was to describe these 2 compositions, I think Spinal's is just a little more skill intensive, honestly. Like, I think it is a little less rote of a strategy. You're going to need some really good flanks from your Zacian. You're going to need Symp to land big power spikes on Delphox, and you're going to need to avoid the other damage swings the other way. Joey's going to need to play a good macro game. But I trust every single one of the players on that team to fulfill those tasks well. So I am not worried, but I do think that's how I would describe that comp.
Great invade by Joey. They lead with the buff. Nice Astonish done on the Chansey. And great support by Vin on the Espeon to get a quality KO the other way. Spinal is not letting up off this gas pedal.
I love these EV clears, folks. You don't need your ball toys when you're playing an evolution. I love this play from Vin. Cruises through. A Selgor, a Scavalier are the only two on the hit list. You grab those two Pokemon, you can immediately charge to either help with the invade or take a quick flank either top or bot. Nice play, and now Spinal in a really good spot early.
Yep, Zacian jumping on top of the back lines. Luckily, the Slowbro evolves to really mitigate a brunt of the damage they were going to take, but they overstayed their welcome. Nice surf, and it's the Cubfu gets credit for that KO, which means they evolve. Kyriaos looking to put some pressure on here, and RedLuv does not have their level 4 yet, which means a ton of points are going in because RedLuv can't mitigate that, and we know the Breaksting can't get in the mix either.
Nudo and Muk evolve in that scenario. I mean, if either one of those are like 30 experience less, I seriously think that's a double KO for the Zacian. But neither here nor there, and neither is going to be Vin, as Kyriaos shows what another player on this Urshifu can do. Kyriaos, obviously a world champion. You know him, you love him, and let's watch the champ at work.
I mean, VinDiesel getting a big old dose of their own medicine there as the movement came through, and that Espeon got folded like laundry, my friend. Absolutely buckled, no chance. Now Relent gonna have to peel back as the squad is showing up, and Solar Beam comes through, and they know exactly where they're going. They're going to the portal, they catch a nice reset, and how is Curse gonna play this? They're gonna wait for the peel back through, they do. They go right onto the dive, but that buys enough time for Vin to get into the mix as they're putting the pressure on. Solar Beam comes through, but it doesn't quite find purchase as the Blissey is down.
Man, this late game team fight for the side of Curse is going to be so strong. Double Beam plus Urshifu goes so hard. Dupe's next. Like, I am terrified for what Spinal is going to have to deal with. But OnRelentNem knows that the battle is now and decides to engage aggressively. They're going to make it back to this portal. All three members in the top path for Spinal do, in fact, and they are happy, healthy, and well adjusted.
Well, that's the problem with Curse Solar Beam. If they're not both there, you can't really mitigate or stun them out of that opportunity to reset, right?
Yeah.
It really becomes onto like a Mew Surf to get that done, which I would actually like to see Curse lean more into, because that's going to be your best tool to keep these resets from happening and allowing your Solar Beams to come through consistently and get some KOs.
Oh, it's just so hard when you're pushing into a Pokemon like Zacian or Umbreon. Like, you're making it so much easier to KO you. They gotta be perfectly timed, but it's still a really solid chance. OnRelentNem dealing a ton of damage, and the Urshifu gets to work.
Urshifu gets to work because they used their Unite move, and they found a ton of hits, punching RedLuv through the solar plexus, and now the Blissey securing it for Curse despite the solar beams coming through. Not exactly how they drew it up, but they'll take it when they got it. Kira, absolute legend out here on this Blissey.
That team fight probably could have been a little quicker as well, but Kyriaos got Regirocked, so they were walled up by 2 rocks inside that entire team fight. Eventually came swinging, but in the end, it's them who come away with the victory or the W in that specific scenario. Next up is going to be this Regieleki, which both teams rotating a few members to. We're at least going to get a little bit of action here in the top half.
A little bit of action indeed, as Kyriaos is already working through this Regieleki just to see if they can get Relent to collapse on them, because they have the support there, so they've got a good opportunity to make some stuff happen. Joey playing to the front line, they get buckled before they can reset, but the Zacian does make it through. Looking for their opportunity is Relent, as this Regieleki is at 30 HP, but playing very far forward is Kira. They're going to be looking to stun this thing down if they can get it. They're coming through, and it's sealed up by the Mew, as they're putting pressure on. Bliss Assistance is out, so Kyriaos really wants to leverage this and use a target here. And Kyriaos is going to go in. Doesn't matter. Espeon's Psychic Solaire comes out, stuns up everybody, but it is just not enough, Zoinks, as that is a KO streak of 3 for the world champ.
The unreal play there. The team fight obviously pops off. They're going to destroy this goal zone. Overdunk of 20 looking pretty solid there, the top path. But I honestly think the impressive thing for me is Muk holds down that enemy, their own goal zone with the Venusaur that entire time. They crash that pad. VinDiesel gambles big when they try to come through that Hoopa portal onto that goal zone and immediately press their Unite button. It does not find the KO though, and all of a sudden the response from Cursed is just so strong.
Oh, strong indeed. They are up big on the scoreboard now, up by 147 points, if my math is right. And really, the team, the Curse team, is looking very well fed right now, just eclipsing Spinal in every experience category possible.
Yep, and they are best suited to be taking out this objective that just spawned into the bot path. I think Uzi and now 3 other members are going to be joining that fight. Kyriaos finding a pretty terrifying welcome party in the top path as Spinal decides that that's where they want to push. And no way! way the Hoopa gets it. Hoopa is, in fact, a very good Pokemon.
I mean, Joey doing everything they can for the Spinal team to give them a chance to win. They get buckled quickly, so much so that actually Spinal can't pivot back through that portal for help. They knew it was a lost cause, but Joey at least taking the basement Reggie for the team is crucial. Cursed collapsing on the goal zone, getting some points in, but this lead has shrunk tremendously.
2 games in a row that the 4-minute Reggie objective gets ignored by everyone but the Hoopa, but this time, Joey is able to make it look even better and actually secure it for the squadron, saying, you all go on, I'll handle this, and, well, they handled it like a champ. There we go, another Reggie towards the side of Spinal, and the score lines are actually remarkably close at this point in the game.
Yeah, that's going to be a difference maker going into the final stretch here. But nice engagement, Unite move used, and they try to get that back the other way. Is that a telekinesis on the Slowbro to pull into Zacian? Relent getting stuck. Psychic Solaire comes back out, and now Kyriaos is getting mad low. Solar Beam comes through, can't save Kyriaos though. Regieleki, is leashed out, and they're going to try and take this thing before tons of damage comes through. Sealed up by the Solar Beam. No problems there. Muk getting it done for the team. And looking across the way, Spinal needs to catch some resets here because there is a lot of damage raining through and a Regieleki flying in their face.
Yeah, they're going to have to peel back and defend against that one. They cannot allow a potential back cap from the side of Curse. It's just going to be too strong. You can see Uzi's actually playing pretty aggressively on their map rotation just in case that Regieleki was ignored by the team of Spinal, but not going to happen. They're going to knock that Pokemon out, and the rest of the Curse is just going to farm up as quickly as they can. A couple 13s, couple 12s, but definitely staying just ahead of Team Spinal.
Staying just ahead indeed. Vin is huge on this SPN, level 13, a couple 13s the other way. If I'm looking at where we're squared up here, the balance sheet on the experience is still in the favor of Cursed, but Spinal is not far behind. 10 seconds till Rayquaza, and Spinal looking to take another good team fight.
Yeah, I mean, I was definitely favoring Cursed a little bit earlier on in this match, but that was the case in game number 1 as well. And this resurgence from Spinal has happened back-to-back matches now. Spinal in a very good position. It looks like the Civil War, 2 lines standing looking across from each other right now.
Yeah, we're going to see if it's World War I who's going to run out of the trench first. That Solar Beam comes through and chunks players from Spinal in a big way. More Solar Beams coming through, and it's on top of a key target. RedLuv getting absolutely caught out, forced out the Unite move. They're going to see if they can collapse. That's the first scale that they're looking for. Fanciful Fireworks are out, but it's Slowbro that goes down. Spinal looking to pivot. Solar Beam comes through. They're looking for a target. They find RedLuv going back into it, half HP. Nice stun. Bliss's stun to Kyriaos to save them, but can they actually get a KO to follow up? They want VinDiesel. They're on the chase down. Boosted all comes through. Solar Beam as well. Muk finds them, and now it's just that big Rings Unbound Hoopa that's peeling away. RedLuv gets back off respawn, but this Rayquaza is so low. Can Joey do it again? They're looking for a miracle here. The Solar Beams need to come through. Can they get the Vitamin D from the sunlight? They can get the KO on the backside. They take the objective. Cursed using that Vitamin D, making it look like Vitamin Yee. They're looking to score and get some burgers in.
Perfect pairing, of course, to your Hundo Burgers is your Vitamin Yee, just like Sunny D. Incredible scoring so far. They're going to be counting this up to 600-700 points by the end of this matchup. And I mean, Curse team playing that one picture perfect in the end game. They get some big catches. RedLuv goes not down early, but a nice little catch by Nudo brings out a few Unite moves in response. But Curse team playing that fight perfectly and kind of responding in kind. Aggressive slow beam onto the Zacian. Curse team going to be racking up this scoreline even higher.
Yeah, we're in that garbage time, my friend Zoinks. Now we're just looking to get the stats up. So trying to give us something to talk about after this as the whole team is aced on Spinal. And they've got 15 seconds left to just watch this thing go down as Curse is trying to put as much AOS energy in as possible. And Spinal going to take a breather here and see what they need to do in Game 3 to get themselves a win and move on in Unite Mike's Mayhem Season 4 finale.
We're all tied up. That's right. Our first qualifier for the finals game between Spinal and Curse is going to be going the distance as our teams are tied up 1-1. I feel like the same story happened again in game number 2, Duke Snacks. The Spinal really having a slow start to their match, coming alive in the final few minutes, but Curse team, this time they were able to keep their boots down, hold on to that lead, and, well, honestly, win a dominant team fight in that scenario. Everybody just sort of paused and waited until Joey was KO'd, and then everybody just knocked out the Rayquaza. Pretty good patience from that side, knowing the Hoopa doesn't have too much burst damage while not in that unbound mode.
Yeah, I mean, Muck lined up their solar beam and just happened and just literally just it targeted onto Rayquaza and waited till Joey got in the crosshairs. And like, let's see if I can get a little BOGO deal on here. Take a Rayquaza and a KO. And that's pretty much exactly what happened. So I'm looking at these numbers here. Nothing crazy, too crazy stands out to me. But that just means these teams were scrapping. When they were scrapping, it was pretty well balanced. Ultimately, the difference maker really being those double solar beams and Urshifu, to be quite honest.
Yeah, Kyriaos was 14 at the start of that final team fight, and I feel like at the end of it, they were hitting that 15, that max level that you can have in the game. So Kyriaos, a menace from start to finish in that matchup. I mean, it's a heck of a pickup, right? You pick up a little champ like them, who obviously are well known for their attacker play. They played Central Area in the past. Tonight, they're playing a little bit of both, but honestly, a whole lot of top path. And so far, it's looked fantastic. A lot better than their Smash Bros gameplay. Believe me, you can let them know. But I was really impressed from that game, and well, we're tied up 1-1, and I will say, in my honest opinion, both of these games have felt like clear victories. Oftentimes, when it comes down to Unite, we're like, that team just sort of lost the game. I don't feel like that way at all. I feel like in game number 1, Spinal beat Cursed, and the opposite of that is true in game number 2. Cursed definitely found an answer to what that aggressive VinDiesel play was trying to accomplish, and well, they shut it down hard in that game number 2.
Yeah, I think the difference between VinDiesel game 1, game 2, obviously, besides the character, was the squishiness of that character and the mobility of that character, right? Although VinDiesel got a quality amount of KOs, I think they got 4 KOs. They led their team on that front. I mean, they scaled very well. They're one of the biggest characters on their team going into the final fight. It was just a little too easy to catch, and we saw how easy Vin could close the gap between themselves and an Eevee in game 1, and Kyriaos was able to do the exact same thing in game 2.
Yeah, there you go. So far, Urshifu has been the key. I would imagine this Pokemon could see some consideration of bans in our game number 3. I would not be too surprised at that. Also, update on bans. Spinal has elected to going second. So yet another selection for second pick in draft. And yet again, the team that was on first pick side won. So explain to me what is happening. Why are these teams making these choices? I guess I'll never know. Let's head into draft for game number 3 between Spinal and Cursed.
Spinal and Cursed looking to make this thing. Wasn't the first trend bucked? Yeah, because every person that has picked first has won except for last game, right?
Last game Spinal won and they picked first. Wait, yeah.
No, Cursed won and they picked second.
Correct. Yep, never mind. My narrative is shattered. I guess last game ruined
it was solid up until that point. And that was a lot of games in a row. So the sentiment stands. It still seems that according to our tally marks here, picking first is the advantage. Now we've got an Inteleon chosen by Cursed immediately. No doubter. And if this is where Spinal goes, I'd be remiss if they didn't lock in Zacian. Yeah. Grabbing the Hoopa, definitely where Joey's comfortable. I think that's very clear. We'll see where they go. I mean, I don't even think you need to grab Blissey right now, to be honest.
Yeah, you could probably hold off on that. Spinal hasn't really shown any inclination to playing that Pokemon. Not to say they can't. RedLuv's got a mean Blissey. I guarantee it. You could go double support in a scenario like this, but you're just going to see a very, very tanky style build on Blissey if you do see that. Cursed is going with this double attacker style build very early in their draft, by the way. They are giving Spinal every opportunity to pick Pokemon well-suited into taking down mages at the moment. I liked the Delphox a lot when we got to see it. I wouldn't be surprised to see that one again, but well, still one more selection for Spinal to have, but they are sticking to this RedLuv Umbreon that has found them success in that last game.
Them grabbing Blissey for Kira is no surprise here. Yep. We'll see where they end up going. I love this Buzl pick because you're going to be able to absolutely lift folks out of portals, slam them on the backside, and keep them engaged in the fights that you want, which is a great look by them. We saw it a little bit last night in the Battle Hub, and we're looking to rinse and repeat that tonight. Not from Cursed team, obviously, but just that thought process here. And Vin grabbing the Dodrio is huge. That is their engagement to get to the backline.
Yeah, this is what I was worried about. When you pick double attacker so early in your draft, I mean, you're opening yourself up to kind of that assassin Pokemon just going to be swinging in and taking over. We'll see if Curse has got a plan for it. I mean, it's a pretty tough Pokemon to take down. You're sort of relying on Nudo Surfs as your only anti-Dodrio option. That's, I mean, Nudo's good, but it's a whole lot of reliance on that player. Interesting thing for Curse, by the way, as well, we're going to see a bit of a role swap. I think we're going to see Uzi going into top path on this Buzl, and Kyriaos headed into full-time central duties on the Venusaur.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kira's going to be into Kyrios' pocket, I'd presume, to make sure that they can get that successful clear, because Joey can easily go across the map and cause a ton of static.
It looked real good last game when they pulled it off, right? I mean, Joey was there. To be fair, it was a whole lot of Vin being a part of that, but that duo came away with a lot of experience and a lot of impact in that second game. And I mean, that's one of the reasons that this match is currently tied 1-1.
Without a doubt. Without a doubt. So looking across here, you mentioned, I mean, Nudo needs to be on the 1s and 2s if they are going to protect Muk and Kyriaos here. I'm thinking if Kyriaos is on Venusaur, one of the two is going to play the mid-range action, right? It's either going to be Muk on Liquidation or it's going to be Kyriaos on Petal Dance Giga Drain. I have a tendency to believe it'll probably be Inteleon on Liquidation if that's where we're sitting, because double long range right here sounds a bit rough to me, but I'd like to know what your thoughts are.
I would say yes. However, they played that double Solar Beam last game and obviously felt pretty comfortable with it, so maybe that's just the extension they want to go into. Yeah, I'm not too sure late game. It'll be really interesting to see where those builds go. I honestly am kind of undecided. I can only imagine what these teams are trying to do to deliberate between these two. Snipe Shot, really good into both Mew and even the Zacian, but other than that, Liquidation feeling a little bit stronger in more of a general sense.
Yeah, I mean, it does. What I like about Liquidation specifically into a Vin, I mean, it tracks that Dodrio, right? And that's important. So it's kind of like the classic sure hit, right? That's why you choose like Mew with the boosted auto and the Electro Ball to really chase down these incredibly mobile Pokemon. Liquidation does a similar thing because obviously Vin has to get up close and personal to engage, and then you can unleash a Liquidation on them, going right for the players. They don't care about the birds; they're getting the experience the hard way. But this Zacian is getting punched up. They take care of the Venusaur, Ivysaur, and the KO comes back for Buzl. So Buzl sticking in this top path, scaling very well, already hitting level 5, able to take care of the level 5 counterpart here. But Vin has not overstayed their welcome. They say, I am checking in for the long haul, and they get a quality KO back the other way.
This is what I'm so worried about, Doomslex. I don't see an answer to Dodrio. Like, I really don't. I think Vin is going to be taking over this game at the start of this matchup, and so far, that has already come true. This double invade from Vin and Joey going very, very well. However, Muk comes away with a KO in the bottom path. That's not for nothing. They knock out the Mew. RedLuv able to defend the goal zone, and with the help of Vin, they have to send Cursed packing all the way back to their goal zone. And that's Fell Stinger. It's 100% going to be Snipe Shot.
You are not wrong. Scaling very quickly as the Drizzile. They're about to evolve very shortly. So Muk doing great in the early game. Bang, they already hit Inteleon. They are ready to go. Buzl caught in between everybody. They got drill pecked backwards, and that was right through the chest. The Buzl might have a beefy chest, but it's got a big old hole punched through it by that Dodrio, no questions asked. Nice little Egg Bomb to get the berry here. They're going to try and buy some time for their team to get up there, but this might be a fruitless endeavor as the Zacian is putting tons of pressure on and getting all the time in the world for VinDiesel to get their stacks.
Yeah, Vin is getting stacked up, and because of that, like the rule of collections here, so is the Zacian. A really good top path pairing. Dodrio really carving the way for Zacian to be able to earn that experience the other direction. VinDiesel at 9, almost full combos Kira in one hit. That does not quite find the knockout. And Softboiled bringing that character back up to full HP. Simp on cleanup duty with a double collat on the Solar Beam.
Yeah, it's easy to see where those players are going to be. So you just put the Solar Beam on the Hyperspace hole and let it do all the work for you. Taking that wild Pokemon there from the side of Curse, no problem with Spinal. As I'll tell you what, Simp's looking pretty good on this Mew. They got KO'd by Muk early, but after that, it was all them all the time.
Simp, one of the stronger mobile gamers, I think, in the scene. A Mew, a challenging Pokemon to play on mobile. I'd say one of the few Pokemon that I think Switch players have a better spot to be in. Ivysaur getting that KO. Kyriaos with the KO streak at 2 has set themselves up to have a Verdant Anger Unite move now, and it is Liquidation.
Yeah, but caught in the backside here is that Dodrio using their Unite move to get out, and Simp using their Unite move to get in. It is taken by Kira, though, as Curse is looking to push this goal zone. They're going to let Nudo take the charge, who surfs backwards, maybe just to get spacing and deciding we don't really want this push. RedLuv is all over Muk. That's the target they want, but Muk is schmoving around, and they get back to their goal zone, and things are going to settle out here for just a moment.
It is wild that they kind of cut the difference, and they did go with the liquidation build alongside the Phil Singer. And oh my word, the damage even at this midpoint of the game is getting so ridiculous. Simp on Mew is having to body block for RedLuv's Umbreon whenever these liquidations come through, because otherwise they're just getting KO'd in short order the other way. Buzl grabs Vin. That's a great play. Huge superpower there from Uzi.
Now these liquidations are starting to find all the right marks. The Umbreon Unite is out, but RedLuv is quickly dusted by Buzl, who has looked great on this Buzzwole. Joey come through trying to use the Phantom Force to pop this team back and keep these scores from happening, but that is a fruitless endeavor as Cursed is up 188 to 81. Spinal looking to close that gap, though, as it's just Kyriaos again on the babysitting duty, like the Babysitters Club, and Regieleki is who they're trying to get paid for babysitting right now, as they're keeping that thing from going in. Pivoting down is Relent, as they are looking for an opportunity with the Zaji, but that liquidation is mean, my friend.
Yeah, doing a whole lot of damage while you chase, and there's no teammates to hide behind, right? Easy to dodge behind one of your defenders, and so they can tank that damage, but sometimes that is not an available option. Nudo with a very aggressive chase on the VinDiesel. That final auto attack not going to find the KO, and the reset happens for the Umbreon.
I'm taking a look at Cursed. I mean, they can pluck these players out of those portals. They can Solar Beam into them to kind of time that out. Nice Unite move to absolutely dust Relent as RedLuv has to grab this berry, and they're going to try and keep this thing from happening. That goal zone is closed, and Vin comes in just in time to catch that boosted beam that comes through, and that's a KO on Vin very quickly. And we have the Giga Drain coming out to give just the right amount of sustain for Muk in that situation, excuse me, for Kyriaos in that situation. And I'll tell you what, Cursed is looking very good all of a sudden.
Uzi looking like they played on LG all year with how well the coordination between them and Kyriaos have been so far. I mean, every single superpower has been teed up with the Solar Beam immediately after. Muk caught out in a pretty interesting situation. They're able to escape out of the danger. However, Mew does secure that Registeel.
Yeah, but they take a ton of damage for it and a KO, and now Curse is looking to counterpunch, and they are finding nothing but chin. They are laying some knockout blows out. 3 players down for Spinal, and Joey is on a sliver of HP. Kira's on the chase, and if they can egg bomb them out, they're going to look to do that. Nope, that was a little bait, and good play by them to keep pushing forward. That was sickness.
Yeah, I mean, huge bounce back from Curse in that scenario. They lose that Reggie. Muk almost gets KO'd. I actually am surprised that Spinal played so hard for that objective and didn't chase the Inteleon in that scenario. That being said, they came away with the Reggie KO, so I think most awards for that one are going to be going towards the supports. They're going to be hitting that level 10, 11 by that final fight. So their future is sort of secured in this scenario, and at least is keeping pace with the side of Cursed. However, Spinal's carries having a bit of a tougher time keeping the pace, but 13 and 12 for Zacian and Dodrio.
13-12, not a bad look, but it's really Simp that's been doing a lot of work for them, right? In the back line, making some things happen, grabbing objectives, countering Solar Beams here, but it's the true Venusaur, the true owner of that Solar Beam that comes through, not a poser like Mew, as Simp is peeling back, and they're going to sit on this goal zone because they don't want this Regieleki to hit. Meanwhile, Curse is looking for an opportunity in a different spot of the map.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of vision, and of course they're going to have a chance to take away a blue buff from Vin. Surf goes wide, Vin does get stunned up by the Blissey, though, and that is going to be enough deterrent for them to try to escape. RedLuv with a very safe little bit of snarl there to try to slow down any enemies chasing, protect their damage carry of the Dodrio.
Nice little boosted auto to dart past RedLuv on the Umbreon, so those liquidations started hitting Umbreon. You mentioned it before, that's a way to kind of keep yourself standing, but seeing it in practice right there in such a crucial moment was great, because a level 14 Dodrio going down to the 2-minute and 20-second mark is nothing to scoff at. 2 minutes, and we've got players in a blender already. Nudo gets poached out, they're kind of caught out. The boosted auto comes through, tons of damage. The Egg Bomb can't keep anybody from resetting, but Curse is desperately trying to regroup here, as Kyriaos is sitting in the middle, and Spinal has the pressure on them to make a move. They're down by about 85 points, so they're going to need that. Vin going to shrink that up to, wow, third 21 right in a heartbeat here.
Yeah, and Curse with actually RedLuv rotating gained them so much real estate there, and they're going to be able to retreat. That is huge. RedLuv's Umbreon just gained them so much macro presence in this final team fight. A big engage from the Umbreon. They're going to jump down and steal a bunch of shields, but Uzi is the one to strike first.
Nice bait by Uzi to get them back in the mix, and they're catching fire here. Dodrio Unite chips up Buzl. Solar Beam comes through. 4 players down for Spinal in a heartbeat. That was the best round of rope-a-dope I have ever seen. Who else but Joey going to try and make a hero play here? They have the rings unbound. They have enough players coming off respawn. They're going to pour back through, trying to make a move here. Getting in the middle is RedLuv. Solar Beam comes through, but it's all Buzl show here. And of course it is. In the last 2 minutes, they've looked phenomenal. Solar Beam is going to rack up another KO, and they're going to get the big hoopa. But that was all about Buzl. You were wondering, why did they engage so hard on that? And then they pivoted back to their team. It was the biggest bait in history. And then Curse dropped all of their Unite moves on top of Spinal's head and absolutely buckled them. That is a lesson in team coordination, my friends, and all the credit in the world for making to Buzl for making that happen. That was truly off the back of their engagement and their pivot, and it looked awesome. That was sick.
Yeah, it's one of those team fights where we could go back and go frame by frame and call out amazing moments or just really big throws, like one of those that really has some big exchanges. That's right, Kyriaos with a funny number if you include their KOs and their assists. Thank you, Gamba.
69, nice. Looking back across the way, though, I'm glad Buzl got the crown because they played one hell of a game.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Uzi's Buzl. I mean, seriously, it feels like every single game they've played in Mayhem has been a different Pokemon. Please, Stat Wizards, do the math on that one. We're really pumping up those poker numbers when we put them up later on in the week. So shout out to our stats guy, and shout out to Uzi for making it very, very exciting. And speaking of exciting, Cursed have just won a very amazing matchup against Spinal. Spinal eliminated from tonight's competition. However, they did win one of our tournaments so far in our season. They're going to be headed home. Curse is going to be sitting in our finals to be playing the winner of Gudra Goose and Goat, which is going to be happening right after this. Do not go anywhere. More Mayhem right after this.